know what the heck was happening, but this live stream just kept, the previous live stream just kept having a circle around my face, like it was loading or something. So I don't even know what's going to happen with that video. Not a fan. It was very like irritating. And then I went to Spider Banner, and then everything went black. So we're done. We're done with that. I forget exactly what I was talking about. Oh, I remember. When people talk about their niche audiences, we'll just start from there. And I've always like had a hard time of like, who am I talking to? Like, I don't fucking know who I'm talking to. I'm talking to like, hopefully somebody that'll listen. Like I'm talking to somebody that like gets it. But like, it's been hard to like specify who exactly I'm talking to. But like over the years, it's become glaringly obvious that I'm talking to the most intuitive and simultaneously insecure population in the dome. And like, you also can't be offended that I said dome. Like, you can't. Oh, it's gonna bother me. Maybe down here is okay. Yeah, the audio is still fine. You can't be offended by, but I don't know, you might be, but you might be. But anyway, what I was saying before and at the end of my other live is that it's taken me a long time to get okay with being the villain in people's lives and being the enemy and being the one that like, I don't know, like I was like too fiery, I was too much, I said too much, I was too rude, I was too whatever, you know, whatever people say, like I was too hurtful, I was too mean. Like it's like, yeah, I probably was. But like, I know that I was mean to your bullshit that you identify as yourself, because I see you as a soul. That is like one of my other gifts and curses, which has gotten me into a lot of toxic relationships because I see people at a soul level. And I think most intuitive people do. And then that's what we see. We see the soul of the person. We see all that they can become. We see all their potentiality, and it's real in our minds. It's real to a point. But then we need to come back to reality and see these people for how they actually are. And that's a whole other side story. Hello, hello. I was hoping Carol would join us. She's a good person to have in the group, in the chat. I don't know what's wrong with this microphone. It was fine before. Maybe I'm just being weird. Okay. Yeah, let's see what else. So I've gotten okay, and it's taken me a while to get okay with being the villain. But I do, like, genuinely, I'm like, yeah, I am. And sometimes I need to be the villain in people's lives. And I always am, like, weary when people really like me, because I'm like, you're in for a ride. Like, you're not going to like me because I'm bound to say something that's going to upset you. I'm bound, like, it's bound to happen. I'm bound to brush up against one of your edges that I don't even realize is even fucking there. And it's usually in the nonchalance of things. It's usually when I say something that, and I talked about this stuff yesterday on the private live, which you can find at the Second Paradigm community. Look for it. There's a link in the, not in the description, maybe in the description. Would David put it in there? I'm sure it's in the about section. Just go to members.thesecondparadigm.com if you want to see my unlisted videos, because that's where I talk all my shit and I drop a bunch of names and I just say things as they are. I'm a little less careful. Oh, I'm 100% zero careful is what I should say. But here I'm a little more, I still speak as candidly as I am guided to, but I can feel the edges of YouTube and a public video. You know, there's some discretion involved, but yeah, I don't know, I'm getting more and more okay with being whatever to whatever. Like if people need to see me as a villain, if people need to see me as whatever they need to see me as, then it's fine. But I'm bound to piss you off, especially if you're living a lie, especially if like something's wonky, like, and something doesn't feel right, and like you're getting guidance to do something and you're just not doing it. You're just being a stubborn, I don't know. I wish I had a funnier, I don't have no funny words. I was going to say, whatever. I don't know. It's rude. This is where people would make edits and think of something for at least a minute to make it funny, and then they would edit into that and make a bunch of jump cuts. But we're not doing that. We don't do that here. I don't do that. But like, I'm bound to piss people off, and I think I have to. Like it's my job. Like that's one of my jobs here, is to call out the bullshit and make people uncomfortable that are identified with the bullshit. And there have been several times in my life, it seems like, I don't know if the scales are totally balanced, but I think I've pissed more people off and they've like spun right out of my life than have stayed. And I've also had to spin out of theirs too. Like it's okay. And like, I don't know, I used to be, like anytime I had a friend group, I was like, oh my God, we're going to be friends forever. Like I always felt that way. And then it never worked out that way. And like I changed. Like every time it always felt like I was the one changing. And they didn't. Like they didn't. They're still the same. And that's weird. Like that's weird to me. I mean, yeah. Oh God, I don't know. See, this is where it's like public and I'm like, eh. And I kind of drop some threads. Good morning. No, you're off today. I was like, wait a second. Friday? No, you're off. Oh, today's Valentine's Day. Ugh. Made up holiday. Stupid fucking day. Oh God. This is the day when you go to Walmart and you see everyone, all these men just coming out with cheap ass, shitty ass flowers that are like spray painted and dyed and don't have any smell. They do this for Mother's Day too. It's the obligatory flower giving day. I mean, it's the day we show our love for each other. Ugh, I hate this shit. Everyone's so fucking lost in the sauce of the programming of darkness. Too soon. But yeah. So I always feel like, I don't know. I know that there's people that out there that like me and they enjoy what I say, but it gets to the point where you won't. And I know that. Like I kind of just have this like, you're going to like me till you don't. And like, I'm not going to stop is the thing. Like I'm going to keep going. And I don't know if you are. And I've ended so many friendships. Friendships have ended. I've ended them, mostly me, or like I've had to become the enemy in order for the friendship to end. I talked about this yesterday. So, I mean, one example. But like, I don't know. It's weird that like, this is where I'm like, am I on some sort of fucking spectrum? Because I won't preserve friendship over anything. Like hey Danny, do you know what happened to my last live? Did it like get fucked up? I know you were there and then it swirled and swirled and swirled and then went black. So I just began again. Well, I talked for a really, really long time and I have no idea what's going to happen to that video, if anything. But anyway, was I saying? Yeah, it's weird. Like, I remember having a friend that, okay, so I'm an Irish goodbye kind of person, okay? Like, when I'm done, I'm done. We've talked about this. Like, when it's over for me, it's over. I can't, that's it. It's just end, it's end. It's over. It's over. I gotta go. It's done. So I'm like that everywhere in my life. But I'm like that in social settings too. Like, I'm like, I feel it. I'm like, oh, I gotta go. And then I leave. I'm like, bye. And I say bye to the one person that's there, but there's 30 other fucking people that I didn't say bye to. It's not personal. It doesn't mean shit. It's just like, I gotta go. And I just gotta go. And then I leave and I walk outside and I feel so much better and I can breathe and, like, you know, it's quieter. Just, that's just how I am. I have no idea. I was able to say hi and all I could hear was something. Oh, and then it went black that whole time. Molly Cat was like 2 hours ago. That's crazy. Okay, well, here we are now. So that's just how I am. I'm an Irish goodbye kind of person. And I had this friend that, okay, good to know. Thanks, Ben. That was so long ago. Oh my God, I talked for way longer about so many fucking things. Okay. Weird. Yeah, I was hoping to listen while working, but I just had to work without hanging. Well, now we can hang. You can listen and you can work. And hopefully it'll make your day go faster. Okay. So she said in order to be friends with her, I couldn't just leave. I had to say goodbye when I was leaving. And then, okay, so she's having this like heart to heart moment. This is in this, you know, the fucking California days. She's having this moment with me where it's like, Miriam, you know, it's really important to me. I need you to say goodbye when you leave because you just leave and, like, I don't know where you went. I don't know if you're okay. And, like, I guess I understand, but it's like, I'm a grown ass fucking woman. Like, and I have a car and I can drive and I'm capable. And we fucking live in the same goddamn house. But anyway, it was like this thing, and she sat, it was like a sit down thing that we had to talk about, like, Miriam, if we're gonna, you know, if you're gonna be my friend, this is something that I value in friendship. And then my response, which is not the response you're supposed to have in this setting, that's why I'm like, am I on some sort of fucking spectrum or something? My response was like, well, then I don't think we can be friends. Because, like, I'm not changing. Like, I know I'm not. Like, I know, like, when it's time for me to go, it's time for me to go. And, like, David knows this about me. He doesn't care. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go. It doesn't fucking matter. He is the goodbye to every single person. I am not that. I can't be that. That sounds like my worst fucking nightmare. Like, when I get the ping that it's time to go, it's because it's time to go. Not because, like, oh, in 10 minutes it'll be time to go. Like, no. It's time to go now. I got the ping to go now because it's time to go now. That's why this how this fucking works for me. David, he's not wired that way. He can mingle, he can talk, he can do the goodbyes, he can do all the niceties and the long extended hugs. This is back in the day. The long hugs, the heart-to-heart hugs, the tip-to-tip hugs. I don't know how the guys fucking do it. But he can do that shit. I fucking can't. I can't. I just do it like a bye. Like, I'm overstimulated. I don't like most of you people here, but I haven't really recognized that within myself yet. So, but it was crazy to me that was a requirement for friendship, and I was unwilling to do it. Saying goodbye to everyone sounds so damn exhausting, especially if you got hugged tip to tip. Yes, Ben, exactly. Can you imagine? Yeah. Oh, God. That's a funny visual. You know, it's back in the spiritual days. Everything's fucking weird and leaky and fucking oozy. Man. But again, I was like, okay, well, then I don't think we can be friends, which you're not supposed to say that, because you're supposed to like think back and like how long you've been friends and that this person's really important to you and you want to compromise and you want to make things work. And but like me compromising would be me hugging everybody, or I guess it would be finding wherever the fuck she is and then going to her and telling her that I'm leaving. No, no. It was the same thing. I talked about this yesterday and I'll touch on it briefly today. But it was the same thing with the art. When this woman that I was friends with did pastel art, flat pastels on paper, like a normal fucking person, and did, you know, energetic imprints of people on paper pastels. And I was like, oh my God, these are cool. I want to do them. So then I started doing them, and she didn't like that. And then I started doing them even fucking cooler and like leaving all the piles of pastels. And then I started selling them, and she didn't like that either. And like that was a thing. Like it was either our friendship or the art. And I was like, I'm not stopping. I'm going to keep doing this art. And like, again, it's like, that's not what you're supposed to say. Like, you're supposed to like value the friendship more than the art. But like, I didn't. And I don't know what that means. I don't know how people would interpret that, nor do I really fucking care, because it's the fucking truth and I feel better off for it. But like, I don't even know where I'm going with any of this. I don't even know what my point is. Other than, yeah, you're gonna not like me eventually, probably, most likely. Like, I feel like I'm a very, especially to those types of people, I'm a very, triggering is, I guess, the word, but it's like some sort of like stark, like something that just bothers them. It's just interesting. And I'm just blunt, you know? Like, even I told the story yesterday, I'll tell it again real quick. The same woman, this art woman, because also to add to the art piece, people over the years have asked me like, oh my God, Miriam, can I make these art pieces? I'm like, yeah, it's fucking pastels, go for it. Like, it's like, I don't care. And yours isn't gonna ever look as good as mine. You'll never be able to pull through what I pull through. So fucking have at it, home slice. Like, I don't care. I don't care. It's literally pastels and paper. Like, it's like anybody can do it, but not anybody can do it, because you have to have a fucking connection to God and it has to be real. You have to be actually pulling through something that's profound with messages that resonates with the person that it's meant for. How often does that happen? Fucking, I don't know. But do I believe that this person that got in my DMs and asked me if they could make the art, like, make the fucking art? I don't have like a fucking monopoly over art or pastels. Like, it doesn't even make any fucking sense. And people are so weird in the art community. They're weird in the mom community, they're weird in the art community, they're weird in all the fucking communities. Anything I've ever explored, I'm like, you people are fucked up. Like, just make your art. Why would you ask me permission to do whatever the fuck you want to do? It's your own home. I don't care. So anyway, and then, you know, the whole artist, like, oh, there's copycats, and like, if, you know, people get really offended when their art is being copied. It's like, well, then make something that make something good then. If your work is getting copied, it's probably because it's good, right? But like, so then stand in that and know that, and not, number one, it shouldn't bother you if people are copying your art. Like, maybe it's like a little irritating. Like, I wouldn't see it as admirable, or like whatever the thing is, the sibling thing. I don't know, when they mimic you and your little siblings mimic you, it's like a whatever. I don't fucking know. It's supposed to be like an honor. I don't know. Oh, I can't even think of the whole thing. I don't have any siblings. Flattering. But then I go to this place, so it's like, okay, someone's copying my art and I don't like it. It's like, well, then elicit a feeling from your fucking art then. If someone's copying you, and those people, and they're going to sell it for cheaper and people are going to buy it, then let them buy it. Who fucking cares? Those aren't your fucking customers. Your customers are the ones that feel something with your art. So keep going with your shit. Like, what the fuck? Who fucking cares? Don't worry about it. Doesn't fucking matter. Let the copycats be the copycats. It doesn't go anywhere. It's empty. It's hollow. They're only doing it because it's like trending right now. Like it's so fleeting. The people that really like what you're doing, if you're an artist, and anything really, if people really like what you're doing, they're going to stick around. They're going to feel and know the difference between what you've made and what the copycat made. It should be obvious. And if your customers are people that can't tell the difference, why would you even want those fucking people as your customers? No. I wouldn't want fucking people that can't read subtle energetics as my customers. No, fuck off. Get out of here. Not interested. I think about this in like the potter world. I follow a ton of potters on Instagram. I'm just obsessed with pottery. And like people get all weird about copycat stuff. And I'm just like, who fucking cares? Don't even give it any time of day. It's irrelevant. Like keep doing your thing. Like we're here for your thing. And those of us that are really here for your thing aren't going to be duped by the copycats. So you don't need to worry about it. Anyway, I guess that's not a perspective people in the art community have. They just get offended and they're like, well, you can get inspiration, and they like justify it from people's pieces. But if you're actually like really copying, like, nah. But like it still doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't mean anything. It's like there's just all these like, they say nothing. They say nothing, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm saying fucking nothing. So anyway, I had this friend, the same art friend, and I had told this, I'm just going to make the story real short. I told a white lie. I'm the girl that likes to tell the truth. I told a white lie. And she hated it, and it really bothered her. And she was like, well, Miriam, you're all about truth, so I don't know like why you're lying or why you told this white lie or something like that. And then I was like, and then what I said back was like, oh, it probably bothers you so much because you're cheating on your husband, so you're like white lying every day. I just said it, which, as you can imagine, that pissed her off to no end. But like, it was the truth. It was the truth. It was the truth. And like, and then I'm the bad guy. It's like, this is fucking crazy. I just said, I don't know, I just assumed, because I was fine with the series of little white lies that I told. I was totally fine with it. I told like 3, and I was very good with it. I actually thought about it. I put a lot of thought into it. I talked about it yesterday on the private stream towards the end. But like, she wasn't fine with it. So that's weird too, right? Like when you're fine with what you're doing in your life, you just keep going. But then she wasn't fine with what I was doing, but it's really because she wasn't fine with what she was doing. It had nothing to do with like me being a beacon of truth and telling 3 white lies and blah, blah, blah. Like, I guess that could bother her, but like when I'm good with it, it's like, you don't throw this on me. Like I know what I'm doing. I like intentionally crafted this to be this way because I'm, I had a reason. I had a whole reason. It's in yesterday's old news video that no one cares about. If you care to find it. But it's like, I've had so many things like that in my life. And I think what we could do as intuitive spiritual people, insecure intuitives, is I could make myself wrong and see myself as the common denominator. And I'm always the one that, can't hold on to a friendship. And like, I could go down that rabbit hole. And I guess I could like paint a picture that makes it seem pretty real and convincing. But when I really check in about shit, I'm like, yeah, it was over. Like, I still need to keep going. Like, I just need to keep going. And if you're not going to support me for the way that I am, that I just leave parties and I don't say goodbye, then like, let's just cut our ties now. Like, we should cut our ties now, because I'm going to do even more shit that pisses you off. And like, I'm not really like a compromising type person. Like, and I like, you're supposed to be, that's what you do when you're in, but like, that's not what I do. Like, I won't compromise on truth. I won't compromise on what I'm getting. And like, people don't like that. People don't like that. It's not popular. It's not popular. Because good people compromise. So, and I'm not a good person. I don't do good people things. I didn't wear a mask in 2020. All the good people wore masks. I didn't. I was bad. I was a bad person. I killed the grandmas. Me, single-handedly. And then I imagine, well, I don't know, but if people are like, whoa, that's crazy, David is in a relationship with a psychopath, she doesn't she doesn't compromise. And you can think that, that's fine. But I think, I don't know what he would say. He's better at helping resolve things. He definitely compromises more than I do. But he also pushes more for me to see his perspective when we like really get into spats about things, when we get into like bickering things. But then it always ends up going somewhere else anyway. It always, and I can't even remember, we were doing it recently. We got into like a little tiff about something. And then it always goes to another perspective that neither of us were really thinking about or meant anything. I would say David's more accommodating though than I am. I'm very difficult. And maybe I'll soften in my older age, but I don't know. There's just these stances that I just feel like I have to take. And like I'll lose everything for it. I'll blow it all up for it. Like I had one of my like best friends for like 5 years when I first was on this spiritual journey, which that was a long time. 5 years is a long time to be friends with someone. She was very into BLM. She was very into George Floyd. She was very into like the gender ideology and fucking she updated her profile on Instagram to say she, her. And I was like, what? Isn't it obvious? Like I was so fucking confused. I literally took it to David and was like, what does this mean? And I forget what he told me. But I was like, why would you put she, her? Like, isn't that, why would you need to say what's obvious? Like, this doesn't make any fucking sense. And like, we were just drifting further and further apart. And the straw that broke the camel's back is she had all this required reading for her clients. And I told her, I said, I know you have this required reading for your clients. I hope you're not requiring it of me because I'm not reading those fucking books. Again, didn't go over well. She wrote me like a 6-page letter. She didn't mail it to me, but she sent me pictures of it. And, you know, I'm a racist and a bad person because I wouldn't read Me and White Supremacy or whatever the fuck. There were several books. And I like didn't say the lady's name who wrote one of the books. I said, whatever the fuck her name is. I said something like that. And then she's like, her name is, whatever. You know, it was offensive that I didn't remember the lady's name. I still don't know the lady's fucking name because I don't care because I'm not reading the book. Like, I'm not interested. And I knew that if it was required reading for a client, of course it's going to be required reading for friendship. Like, that doesn't, but she said it wasn't. But it was. It definitely was. And then, you know, she went into how I need to educate, that I need to, like, help Black women. And I'm like, what? I don't fucking know. I don't care. No, if you're Black and you like me and we resonate, there's a vibe, then okay. But if there isn't, then there isn't. It's okay. It doesn't fucking matter. I don't care. I don't care. So, yeah, that didn't work out so well. So that ended too. And it's just, and I had to stand in my own, which again, not popular, especially not at the time. George Floyd was trending like a motherfucker. Was he even real? Like, what was all of that? Like, none of us saw it happen. None of us were there. None of us. I could have millions and millions and millions and millions of views on this video, and I can safely say none of us were there. Not a single one. And like, what were we even watching on the screen? And why? This is where, when I was talking about darkness earlier, which that video was probably just trashed, but when I was talking about darkness, I don't think darkness says what they're doing because they're worried about karma. That's a very like truther perspective or something. I don't know where that perspective comes from, but people are like, oh, darkness has to tell you what they're doing because of karma. Then that would imply that they're working for God and that they're checking in with God because they're like, oh, we should probably tell them we're going to, do the chemtrails today because otherwise our karma is going to come back to get us. Like, that's who's doing the karma-ing. Like, wouldn't that be something above them? Wouldn't that be God? Like, they've disconnected from God. So if karma means nothing to me, karma definitely means nothing to darkness. Like, there's no fucking way. I don't take karma seriously. It's not a fucking thing. Oh, they're going to get theirs. I guess that's the idea of karma, or like, no. Most people that you hope would get theirs just don't. They don't. They don't get theirs. Or they do, and they get dealt another shitty reality configuration, and they still never learn from it, and they just become the victim to it. But like, did they really get theirs? Like, they're still fine. They're still existing. Nothing's really changed. I can't do karma. I think it's retarded. But anyway, darkness. What I do agree with is when people talk about revelation of the method. Like, darkness will reveal what they're doing and what they're up to for those with eyes to see. But I don't know the exact definition of revelation of the method, but I like the words, and that makes sense to me. I don't know how it's defined. How I'm defining it is like sadistic, like they like it, like it's funny. It's like all jokes to darkness when they reveal what they're up to, because it's funny. I get it. I can see how it would be funny. It's like, well, we told them point blank, and they have no idea, and they're all out there clapping and cheering under the silver iodide skies, and they have no clue, Anyway, where was I going with that? Darkness and how I take psyops, George Floyd, how I don't budge. Yeah, like it was more important to me in 2020. It was more important to me to stand in my knowing and what I was getting, even though it wasn't popular, because George Floyd was popular, and risk a 5-year friendship. I don't think people really do that. Like, I just don't. That's not like a thing. Like, it takes a lot of courage. I know people do, obviously, but like, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to stand in your knowing here in front of everybody who's just being like duped left and right. And it's weird that like people put stakes on things like, oh, well, if you don't say goodbye to me at a party, then we can't be friends. It's like, okay, then we won't be friends. Like, what? Like, that's a weird, like, this or that. Like, it's like, if you don't read these books, like, these are my required readings for my clients. If you don't read these, I won't work with you. And it's like, whoa, okay, so that's definitely for friendship. And then when I asked if it was for friendship, it's like, no, Miriam. It's like, yeah, but it is. I know that it is. Because you want me to know the same things you know so we can talk about it. And I don't want to talk about it because I'm not interested in this, because I don't agree with any of it. Something feels off about this to me. Oh, and then I was going to say, and then all these people, this is where I was going to go into the sadistic piece, is all these people are wearing masks because it's 2020 that say I can't breathe on them because that's what Georgie Porgy said. Like, what the fuck? You're wearing a mask that says I can't breathe. It's like, no shit. But like, it's comical to darkness. That shit's funny. I mean, that shit's kind of funny to me, so I think you're retarded. And people just fell for it left and right. Same thing with the vaccines. Like, it's like everywhere. And every time I take my stance, I always feel more of me and more solid. But I look around and the people around me just dwindle down further and further and further. And there's less of them. And like, can that be okay? And is that okay? And what does it mean about me? And because I can't hold on to something that has all these stipulations and requirements. Like, homegirl that needed me to say bye to her at a party. there's so much fucking shit. I could have made a laundry list of, hey, like, you need to do this. Like, I hate when you do that. Like, you need to change this about yourself. And yeah, can you just not do that too? Like, that bothers me. And then if you just change those things, then we can be friends. No, I didn't fucking say anything. I just accept her as she is. She's fucking annoying. I fucking love her. I fucking hated her. She drove me nuts. We had a good time. Like, it was like a whole, she's a fucking mixed bag of drama. But I still, whatever, I was still friends with her. There were no requirements for friendship. There was nothing she needed to do or not do. It's weird. It's weird. I don't really know how to talk about in that way. Because, I mean, David and I aren't like that. We don't have requirements for each other for to be in a relationship. Like, oh, if you don't do the dishes, you know, this is over. Like, it really bothers me when you don't take out the trash. I don't know. You need to change that about yourself. No, if anything, it's like just be how you are, be who you are, and like keep fucking growing. Like, as long as you keep growing, like, we're good. The moment he stops growing and the moment I stop growing, either one of us are probably out. Like, and we know that. We know that. And because that's like the most important thing is this continued evolution of our soul, and to continue to press the edges and to continue to grow here and to not get stuck in time and to not become a shell of a person. Like, how it would be so different. I know I'm harping on this stupid fucking example of my Irish goodbyes, but to be accepted for my Irish goodbyes, that would have been so cool. To be like, oh, she probably fucking Irish goodbye. You know? Like, it's like, oh yeah, oh yeah, she dipped. And like, it's just a joke. And then they make fun of me and they're like, oh yeah, she's, you know, like, that would have been so different. But no. Nope, nope, nope. No room for that. Mm-hmm. This attempt to balance the tripod on the arm of the couch is just kind of stupid, honestly. But I'm doing it anyway. So, yeah, I don't even know that it's compromise. I feel like that's a false, I feel like that's what regular people would say. But the like extremes, like it's, can you imagine having required reading for clients? That's fucking crazy to me. Required reading? No. No, it doesn't even make sense. Excuse me. Usually 3, sometimes 4. Yeah, it's just weird. I don't know. The only thing, if I'm thinking about what I require for a client to work with me, it would just be like, do you fucking see what's going on here? Like, do you have access? Do you feel deeply connected to God but think that you're not? Okay, perfect. Do you doubt your intuition all the time, but you like kind of know what's right, but you kind of doubt it, and like everyone around you doesn't really get it? And yeah, that's not even requirements. It's just the truth of how it is. Oh, I have a more in-depth story I'd like to get into, but that would have to be on a private stream because I want to be able to just freely say names and talk about stuff. But I'll do that at some other point. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a trip. whatever that wiring is, that like loyalty and friendship and preserving relationships, preserving connections with people, whatever that wiring is that people have, like I don't have it. And that's why I'm like, am I weird? Am I on like a spectrum of like autism or Asperger's? Or I'm sure, right? That would probably be like a diagnosable offense in the mainstream world. But I don't really feel that way. I just feel like I've changed so much. Like when I think back to all of these different iterations of friendships, I don't even know why I'm on this thread right now. But when I think back to them, like, I don't even know how this version of me would even interact with those versions of them. Like, did they grow too? Because like even another friend like got so stunted, completely different friend got so stunted, most of them, actually several of them, in the BLM thing. And like when I said that George Floyd was a psyop, that was like really offensive. That was later. I said that, I didn't say that right away. And it's like, it's weird that that's offensive. It's weird that like there were other people that were so mad that I wasn't wearing a mask, like so mad in my DMs, and like friends from college and stuff. Like, I don't know. It just feels like everything I do and have done just pisses people off. And like I keep doing it. I feel like the like stereotypical worldly answer is to stop doing it, and the common denominator is you, Miriam, and maybe you need to, you know, but I like have no intentions of stopping. Like I don't. It's weird. It's weird to say that. It's weird to feel that. It feels like it's counter. But I'll burn it all down. I'll lose it all over and over and over again in the name of like what I'm getting. Like if you feel, you know, the woman that felt betrayed by me making the pastel art, which looks nothing like hers, by the way. Her art looks dark as fuck. I went back several years later and looked at it and I was like, ew, no, I am not making that shit. I don't know what the fuck that is, but I ain't making that. Like, if she feels betrayed by me, I don't know. I couldn't say, oh, okay, I'll stop making art because my art bothers you. My art that looks nothing like your art, but I'm using the same medium as you, bothers you. So I'll stop my whole creativity. I'll stop all this income. I'll stop everything because, and all this praise and all of these people that are having these amazing experiences looking at their art of truth. Sure, I'll stop that because it bothers you. Like, that's fucking weird. Like, no. Like, where was the, like, celebration? Like, where was the, like, oh my God, Miriam, your art is super cool. Like, I fucking love what you're doing with it. I love that you're not dusting off the pastels. Like, I love that you're building these, like, piles and piles, and there's so much texture, and, like, they're so dynamic. And no, she couldn't say that. Because I was getting like so much recognition and praise and attention from doing this, and she wasn't. And I imagine she felt threatened or jealous. And I think that's also like a very common theme. I don't know why I'm fucking talking about this. I feel like I'm doing Dear Diary. I feel like this is shit that just stays in my own personal thought bubble and does not get published publicly on the internet. Because I feel like this is shit I'm not supposed to say. I feel like I'm not supposed to acknowledge that people are jealous of me, or that people, like, I don't know, whatever the fuck the thing is. It even just seems weird and retarded and stupid and a waste of goddamn time for them. But I can see it. I've seen it. But it's weird because it comes in initially as friendship. It comes in initially as like inspiration. It comes in as like, but then it shifts just as quickly as it came in. And then I become the villain. Like I was once inspiring, but now I've offended. During 2020, we had this one woman that was in our orbit. She was around our work. And she just loved fucking the mask. And I was so vehemently against it. And I remember I shared a Judy Mikovits video. Man, I wish we still had that Facebook group. I would love to see the comments on that now. And she was talking about like how like a silver mask, I think she talked about this in that video, but like how a truly like mask made out of silver is really the only thing that's going to be antimicrobial. She talked about that in one video, but she also talked about like Fauci and all of that stuff. And this one woman she lost her ever loving shit. She didn't want to be around our work anymore. And it's funny because she like initially liked me because I was so bold and I always said what I was thinking and I always just said shit. And like that, people like that. People that don't do that like when other people do that. It's inspiring. But like when I say the shit and I'm still just saying shit, like I've always said shit, but I bump up against your programming of fucking darkness that you have self-identified with, you don't like me anymore. And then I become the villain, even though I was fucking right. And it's annoying. I'm not the victim to this. I know. I'm not the victim to these gifts that God's given me. But man, it's just annoying. And we have a circumstance here on the board that I need to rip into. Like, I was up all night after our board meeting just stewing on it. I was like, I need to fucking say something. And I didn't yesterday, and so I think I will today. But like, there's just something that needs to be barked at because it's not right. And like, I'm the barker. And then once I bark and I'm heard and, you know, then we can move along and then it's over. Once they get where I'm coming from and I feel like I'm fully heard and understood, and they can talk back and they can say what they want to say, but like, I'm not budging. Like, I am not budging, and I want that to be known. Yeah. Yeah, there's like, I don't have the wiring where you want to preserve social like dynamics, where you want to preserve relationships with people. I don't have that. Like, I don't care. Like, if you crossed me and you're an asshole, like, I'm not ever going to waste my time with you. I'm not going to talk to you. I'm not going to say hi to you. I'm not going to smile. I'm not going to, speaking of people in my direct vicinity, like, I'm not. It's like, no. And then I go into this place, I'm like, okay, if shit goes haywire, this is neighborhood speaking when I'm thinking about this stuff. Like, if shit goes haywire and the grid goes down and we got the 10 days of darkness and, you know, all the friggin' things that all the truthers and patriots like to talk about, I'm sitting pretty. And I know that. And I know that all these fucktards aren't. And I know that people in this neighborhood will turn to me and David before they ever turn to any of these fucktards here. Because there's actual trust, there's actual relationships built with good people. But the scoundrels out there, dime a dozen. Nope, no use for them. They're not privy. They're not privy to anything. They're not privy to any information. They're not privy to anything. Any food, nothing. Nope, get your own. Get your own. Oh, you don't know how? That sucks. Yep. I don't play because what that is darkness in the body. These people are completely hijacked. And I'm talking about more extreme cases with the people that I'm thinking of in this moment. But like even these like little bullshit examples where like someone spins out in 2020 because I won't wear a mask, and then they can't be our client anymore because I'm not scared. Because I told them and I checked in. I was like, I'm not going to die. This isn't even real. David and I met up with someone during 2020 during the lockdowns, which was bad, bad, bad. You're not supposed to get together with people. And we gathered. And he was like, and he was going to give us a hug goodbye. And he like was scared to give us a hug goodbye. I'm like, yes, give us a hug goodbye. Like, what the fuck? This is weird. What? Like, do you not realize like the only reason you're scared is because this shiny rectangle told you to be scared? And there's like a ticker of death counts at the bottom. And there's like, breaking news. A new corona outbreak in Seattle. Another new outbreak in. It's like, oh my God. That's another thing too. I don't even know. I'm just riffing on whatever is in my brain. But like people don't play shit out. People play shit out and it goes not the way it would actually go. Like in their mind, they like it's like the end of the world, right? Like it's like if you lose your job, you immediately think like, oh, death, or like a homeless cardboard box. And it's like that's not how it would go. Like what the fuck? Like I don't know. I talked about this before, but apparently that video is dead and gone. But there's this guy on YouTube. His name's Ian on YouTube. Ian on YouTube is his name. He's been making videos for like 13 years. And one recently went viral. And he has 100,000 subscribers and, you know, the whole thing. And he films regular shit. He's like a 30-year-old guy working at 7-Eleven, like minimum wage job, and he's lived a lot of life. He's like overcome his own addictions. He's seen his uncle die of alcoholism. He himself has become an alcoholic and now sober. He's lived a fucking life. Where am I going with this? He got fired. He got fired from his 7-Eleven job. So he hit 100K subscribers and then he got fired. Not because of that, but because they had this Heineken display, which was non-alcoholic beer. And 7-Eleven had this huge Heineken display and they wanted the workers there, to give out all these Heinekens to all the customers. It was like a whole promo thing. So him and his other coworker were drinking the non-alcoholic Heinekens. He said he had like this much. But someone that doesn't like him went into the store and recorded him and his coworker drinking the non-alcoholic Heineken. So then they sent it to corporate 7-Eleven. So now 7-Eleven fired him. They didn't fire his coworker, but they're going to, is the plan. But the way that he handled getting fired, he was so calm. He's like, I'll just listen. You know what my grandma said? She said, just give it the weekend and then I'll find a job. Like, you know, he's like, I know I'm going to find a job. Like he's not even worried about it. And, you know, he later talks about how he cried and stuff. And of course, and, you know, he worked there for 3 years. He built a lot of relationships with a lot of customers. Like he's a good person. He's overcome a lot. He's just the real deal. Like, he's inspiring to me because he's making videos that feel like as real as a live stream. Like I like doing these live streams because they feel really real. Like there's no edits, there's no jump cuts. It's just what it is. You watch me fumble, you watch me think, you watch me contradict myself. Like it's whatever the fuck it is. It's just what it is. And I feel like often with videos that are crafted, they're not that. Like there's all these. You lose the sense of real. But not with Ian's videos. He does a phenomenal job editing them to make you still like feel like you know him. And he's just living a regular fucking mundane life. And the way that he handled getting fired was so interesting to me because like just the way he handled it, it was so obvious. Like the only way I can say it is like, oh, he's lived a life. Like he knows shit always works out. Like he's like actually not worried. And it's not because he has 100K subscribers now on YouTube and he can, do all this shit with his channel and make all this money. Like, I don't think that's even the connection. I think that he's just like, oh, I'll just get another job and we'll record there and we'll make more content. Like, there's always content to be made. Like, he's like, I know what I'm doing. Like, I've been doing this for a long time. And I just appreciate that. I just appreciate it. I wish I had a better way to describe it, but I just appreciated the way that he handled it. I just thought it was so cool. Because it like said something. It said something without saying something. It like said so much about his character and who he is as a person and what he's been through. And like, I don't know if he believes in God, but it feels like God is real. Oh, well, thank you, Nanya. Nanya business. Thank you. Come again. I read popped as pooped, but thank you. I was like, somebody's pooped. Talking about their poop on here, but thanks. Yeah. Where was I going with that? Living a real life, God being real, people freaking out. Oh, yeah, and like, so like there's this element of like when people, like when you talk to people and you're like, okay, so like, well, what would happen if you lost your job? And then they're like, and like all this panic ensues. And it's like, wow, like you guys, like we can't. We need to be free from that. We need to be like psychologically free from this panic. We need to be biologically free from this panic. We need to know that it's okay. Like genuinely on like a deep, deep level. Like when I think about if something were to go like catastrophically wrong here, like I know that like we'd figure it out, just like we always figure it out. Like it's so bizarre to me because those of us, and this just shows how deeply programmed we are, right? Like we freak out. We think we're never going to find the job. We're never going to find the house. We're never going to get the thing. We're never going to na 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 na. And we're in this fucking panic tailspin. It's never going to work out. Like what the fuck? And then it works out. And then we like quickly forget that we were like psychopaths a week before thinking that like everything was never going to work out and that we were just like spinning into I don't know, a wastewater treatment plant or something. I don't know. It just feels like you're just like spinning in the hole of bullshit. That's the visual, at least. We like so quickly forget. But like, what if we just stayed tethered the whole time and we were like, okay, shit, this is fucking challenging as fuck. I'm pissed. I hate it. This is uncomfortable. But like, I know it's going to work out. Like, why isn't our foundation already on that knowing? Why do we always lose it? Like, we lose our footing and we think that God's not real and that our connection isn't real and that we need to listen to everybody else's advice and we need to use logic and we need to be responsible and then we make ourselves wrong for all the things that we didn't do. If only we were more responsible with our money, then we'd have more money and then we'd be able to get a bigger place or we'd get a better place faster. Or if we had more money, then maybe it would be okay if we got fired from our job because then we'd have more money saved and then we'd be okay and we wouldn't die right away. But now that we didn't save any money while we were working with our job and now we lost our job and now what are we going to do? And it's just like, it's just sheer panic. And it's like, you guys, all this shit is like so entirely made up. Like the only thing that's actually real in any of this is that you're growing. And God is with you every step of the way. And you have access to that. Oh, are you trying to sign in, David? Yes, it's me. Are I'm hoping that's David. It's got to be. That's funny. Yeah, we like need to really realize like what we've done and like what we're connected to and what we're working with. It's so freaking significant. It's such a big deal because you look out there and people aren't doing it. Like people are just following scripts and like supposed tos and obligations and perceived obligations. Perceived obligations, nothing's obligatory. I sang another song in my other video. I forget what I said. Oh, something about like, I don't know. Oh, this similar topic actually, because I was talking about like how people freak out and then they pretend like they weren't freaking out. They're like, oh, I always knew it was going to work out. And it's like, no, you fucking didn't. You were a psychopath and I have receipts to prove it. I have recorded phone conversations to prove it. And then I was like, no, I don't really record phone conversations. I was like, only psychopaths do that. And then I was like, and you know who you are, you fucking loser. And they would never watch this, so it's kind of a bummer. But everyone knows exactly who I'm talking about. So if they were to watch this, everyone else that's watching it, in addition to them, all those other people that are watching it with this psychopathic person that records phone calls, I talk so much shit about you. Exposed. And you have no idea. And you have no way to access it. And you'll never fucking hear it. You'll just have to hear it bellowing in your head while you sleep of how much of a scumbag you are. Now darkness has such a hold over you and you will never be free. True story. True story. You will never grow. You'll never become anybody here but a fucking loser. Shit you're not supposed to say if you're spiritual, right? If I claim to be spiritual and connected to God and then I say things like this. Yep, sure do. I sure do say things like this because it's the truth. We can duke it out later when we're all on the other side. I'll be like, see that fucktard over there? I was right. That video, that YouTube video I made, remember? Still a fucktard. Another thing I was talking about in my black video was something else that bothers me. Is this it? Is this what I want to say? Is this something that bothers me? Well, I just feel like we all came in together. And then, like, I need to find the rest of the people that came in with us. Like, that's what I'm looking for right now. I'm like, okay, so where are the other people that came in with us? Because it can't just be just, like, the 10 of us or however fucking many there are. This is, like, not a lot. But, like, where are the rest of you? Like, that's what I feel like I'm looking for. I'm like, where are the rest of you real ones? Because it's annoying. It's annoying because I was on a whole tear about like marketing and stuff and like finding your niche market. This is what I was talking about. And how we don't do that. But like my niche market is like insecure intuitives that don't fucking know how connected they are. And like I'm here to like champion you all the way, like and fucking remind you and bash you over the head with a cast iron pan. To remind you how connected you are. Solidify that connection. Excuse me. Yeah. I was on a whole tear about that. I don't know if I have it in me, but yeah, it just bothers me. It bothers me more when people don't trust what they're getting. I think that's the most irritating thing. It's like, wait, but you're getting that. And then you told me what you're getting, and then you also told me all the reasons why you can't do it. And I hate that shit. It's like, we got to get over that. We got to blast through that bullshit so we can like actually get you doing something real here. Because I just feel like there are so many like dormant, insecure intuitives out there, and they're just being taken for a ride. They're being manipulated. They're in shitty relationships. They have shitty people around them. They have people that don't see them for who they are, that people don't see their soul. People question all their actions, everything they're doing. There's no support. So they're just trying to fit in a world of perceived obligations. Obligations aren't real. Um, like they're trying to fit in and they can't, but they're still trying. They're trying their fucking hardest to fit in because they want to be good and they want to make it work, but it doesn't. And they're supposed to do something else here. They're supposed to bring something else here. They're supposed to bring their soul here. They're supposed to bring their soul out and express it through their body here. And they can't, it's asleep. Like their soul is so far back. It's hard. It's hard here to actually be expressed and actually say what you're thinking and actually take a stand for something. There's this potter that I like on Instagram. I won one of her mugs. She's doing a 30-day giveaway thing. And she asks a question every day. One of the questions she asked was if you had a superpower, what would it be? And most people said flying or whatever. And I was like, man, or being invisible or, whatever, all these superhero things. Time travel. And mine was I want to freeze time like Zach Morris in Saved by the Bell. And I want to come up with a snarky response. I want to get snarkier, is basically, but I want to use the ability to freeze time so I could be more of an asshole. But I didn't say asshole, I said snarky. I can think of a snarky response. And then, yeah, so that was one thing. And then another day she asked, what do you do that no one else does? What odd thing or what unusual thing do you do that no one else does? Something like that. Or unique. What's something unique that you do that other people don't do? And the comments infuriated me. Mine was what I wrote. So I didn't read the comments at first. I wrote what I wrote, which was, I missed the assignment, I wrote that I tell it like it is at all costs and will burn everything to the ground. In the name of truth. Fire emoji. I don't know. I've always been shitty at these kind of assignments. Anytime there's an open-ended question like this, my answers never match the class. Never. Never, never, never. So I later went back through and read through other responses and I was like, oh. One was I swallow all my pills at once instead of one at a time. I've talked about this before, but I was one was I never tape before I paint. I'm like, what? This is your unique thing that you do? And then I was just telling David, and David's like, yeah, because they're not unique. These people aren't unique. And I'm like, yeah, clearly. It was so sad. I was like, wait, what? I don't know. And see, this is where I go, I'm like, am I on the spectrum? It would just be easier if I was into spectrums and me having a diagnosis. It would be so much easier. Not that I'm not interested in being neurodivergent or whatever the fuck all those things are. I think it's all bullshit. But I could see the utility in it. I could see making it a thing, genuinely. I could see using the stories that I just told about friendship and how I will burn it all down and I will do the thing that I'm getting over what they tell me I need to do in order to keep the friendship intact. That is so funny. I just went off on a whole other thing in my head. Okay. I'll burn it all down. So that's gotta be something on one of those charts. I was thinking, so I was friends with this girl. We were in the same coaching group. So there was like a bunch of us girls in the same coaching group. And three of us lived, well, two of us were already friends and we were in the coaching group. And then another girl lived in the area. She lived in New Hampshire too. So I lived in New Hampshire. She lived in New Hampshire. Our other friend lived in Boston. So three of us ended up becoming friends because we all lived so close. And our coaching coach was in California. And I went to her retreat, and then that's what sparked my whole move to California, because I heard an audible voice in my head. I've told the story 100 times, so I feel like it doesn't matter, but it's probably a big deal. I heard this audible voice in my head say, this isn't a getaway, this is a return home. And I literally looked behind me because I thought it was a person, but it was in my head. And I was like, holy shit. And all this clarity came in. Well, at first I was like, what the fuck does that mean? And then like all this clarity came in, and it was like, you're going to move October 14th. And I was like, oh my God, I can't move halfway through my lease. Like, who's going to rent an apartment halfway through the month? Sure enough, I found somebody, rented, it was like, it all worked out. It was like this whole seamless thing. But I was friends with this girl, the girl that I didn't know until the three of us were in the coaching group together. And she was lesbian, and she had a girlfriend. Her girlfriend hated me. I'm sure she probably hated the other girl too. I don't know, but she really had it out for me. So, blah, 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 live in New Hampshire, move to California. And the girlfriend is like, wants to have a call with me and my friend. And I'm like, okay. So then the three of us are on the phone, and she's like, Miriam, I need you to stop talking to my girlfriend. And I was like, okay. I was like, it was so fucking, it was the craziest fucking thing. I was like, lesbians are fucking psychopaths. Like, this is so fucking nuts. Like, who does this? This is like the most bizarre shit ever. I can't imagine that they're still together at all. I have no idea. I did see the friend that I actually was friends with, not the crazy girlfriend. I did see when I went on TikTok once, because the phone numbers and everything is still synced, or I don't know how the fuck it works. I don't even have her phone number anymore, but like I saw one of her videos pop up, and she's doing like Google SEO. And this woman was like so like attuned and like connected, and she's doing Google SEO. I'm like, oh, that's kind of lame. Like, you used to do something like that. It was a weird thing. But anyway, so that phone call was so fucking awkward. And like, I just was like, okay. And then like, I asked my friend, I was like, well, what do you want to do? Like, if that's fine. Like, if you can't be friends with me, if you're not allowed to be friends with me right now because your psycho fucking girlfriend won't let you, then that's okay. That's okay. That's fine. But I could tell my friend obviously still wanted to be friends with me. She wasn't allowed to be. So she chose the girlfriend and not being friends with me. And then that's how our friendship ended. But it was just so weird. And I mean, I guess I can see the threat, because there were times when she was like, yeah, so I haven't talked to my girlfriend about this yet, but I was, blah, blah, blah. And she'd tell me something. And I was like, oh, it doesn't fucking matter. I don't know. I'd say whatever I'd say, which was not the responses she was getting from her girlfriend. Oof, that girl, I did not like that girl. But it sucked. But it's like, okay, if these were the options, like, I don't know. I'm not really one to like fight for bullshit. Like, I'm not going to fight for, what was I supposed to do? No, we need to be friends. Like, it's like, this is up to the friend in the middle. She has to decide what she's doing with her life. I wasn't going anywhere. I wasn't changing. I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't demanding anything of anybody. Man, I haven't thought of her in a long time. Sad. I hope she's not still doing Google SEO on TikTok. Oh, fuck. She like did a lot of stuff with like body and movement, and like a lot of like, she was a personal trainer. She went through an interesting transformation too. She was like very, very feminine when I met her. Like feminine, long hair, like the feather earrings, dresses. And then she like started changing more and more and more, like more masculine, and she shaved her head. It was like stuff like that. She's like, I just feel like I need to fucking shave my head. I'm like, do it. You know? Or I'm like, sure, whatever. Like, I don't know. It was like, there were other things too that I don't feel like I should mention on here, but. Yeah, it's weird. I think that was maybe the weirdest one because there was someone else that was like forcing the situation. But all the other friendships were more just like one to one. Like no one, there was no like third party that was like, you're not allowed to be friends with Miriam anymore. That was really the only one, I think, that I can recall in this moment. Yeah, isn't that weird? Like I'm even just thinking like with these other ones, like it's funny that there were these demands on the relationship. But like what if I put the demand back on it of like, oh, well, I mean, I'm going to need you to support my art if like we're going to be friends. If you don't support my art, then like we can't be friends. Like that's weird. That would be weird. And then what if they didn't support it? Then which she didn't, then we couldn't be friends. Then that's okay. Then that's the end of the road. It's just weird. Or would she pretend to support my art but not really support it because she wants to maintain friendship, which she doesn't even really want to maintain? Because you're like supposed to maintain friendships. I don't know. Like that whole territory is so sticky. But I think people just come and go in our lives at different points and it doesn't really matter. But when I was younger, I mean, definitely like high school, like once I started having like an established friend group, I just always thought we'd be friends forever. Like I thought that's just how it worked. And that is yet to shake out. My longest friend from 7 years old from first grade, she's still around, but we talk every once in a while and I know she's there. But that's really it. But she's never made like demands on me on how I need to be. That would be so weird and out of character for her. That like doesn't even make any sense. Yeah, it's interesting. I have no idea why I'm on this. I don't know if it unpacks further, if what it means or what it does or who it's for or anything. I have no freaking clue. If I lost the first video, I'm kind of glad I did because it felt clunky. But maybe it felt clunky because like it wasn't working. But I like could not pull a consistent feed. I felt like I was so like tangled. And I don't feel that way now. I haven't felt this way since this one started. But this one's about as long as the other one, which I've just been talking all this time. Oh, but I do have a video I want to show David. I want us to do one of those like, stop, start reaction videos. Stop, discuss, start. I want to do that. I found another one. It's so fun. And I think it would be fun to watch Ian too, the guy I was telling you about. I think it'd be cool to watch one of his videos and unpack it. I just love it. I love getting in there with that stuff. Okay, I should go because I need to go pick up my mom's grocery order. And yeah. It's better than grocery shopping for her. I do prefer that she orders her groceries online and then I pick them up. But I just don't want to. But I will. I told her I would. And I will. It's not that big of a deal once I get going. Get my socks and shoes on and my hat. I'll be fine. It's just cold. But it's blue skies today. Blue, blue, blue. The skylight is blue. That is rare. I can show you. Let's see. Oh, will it focus? It looks white. Yeah, no, it's not going to focus. But it's blue. It's blue. It's blue. I think that's all. Yep. Feed complete. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next